morning. It is Tuesday, April 24th. It's obviously been a few days since, probably a week or more since I put one of these out. I have been a bit under the weather, and I was debating even to do one today. I hate to be coughing or clearing my throat through the entire video, but it's been a while, and I wanted to get something out. Little life update. A few things that have been on my mind. One, I finally got my Apple AirPods, so no cord in the way while I'm driving. So I don't know that I have a full review of them yet, because I'm still learning a lot about them. I'm still figuring out what they can do. Obviously this is my first test of them for the recording of this sort of thing, so there's definitely some things I haven't experienced yet with them to know how well they work. One thing I don't know, I may not continue to do this, but since there was no cord, I didn't worry about waiting until I got out of town today in order to start my recording. But so I don't just spend the whole time looking at the backside of my steering wheel. But so things that are always a concern for me about previous version or previous Bluetooth headphones that I've had. The first thing being, anyone's concerned when it comes to Bluetooth in general has always been battery life. So Apple has a unique thing to deal with that. So in the past, I would charge my Bluetooth headphones up. I had a pair of Motorola. They're really cheap for Bluetooth, as far as Bluetooth headphones are concerned. I want to say they were like $70, $80. Some of you are like, that's expensive, but for Bluetooth headphones, it's not. So I tried them in the morning. I could get a couple of hours maybe of like actual music time or whatever I was listening to, actual use time. Standby would last a long time, but actual use, a couple hours is about all I get. Maybe a little more when they were new. So battery life is always a thing. And then the other thing was volume. Like when I'm out mowing, that sort of stuff, I like to use some sort of headphones to listen to something. Obviously a wireless option would be best, so you're not getting caught in the cord while you're mowing, that sort of stuff. So the problem with that though was none of those were loud enough. Now some of it may have had to do with what I was listening to. Sometimes I like to listen to podcasts, or listen to videos on YouTube, stuff like that. So maybe those just weren't as loud as like music or something would be. But even then, you could tell that the sound volume was not nearly as loud or as strong as what a wired headphones were. So those were always my two biggest issues, were those two things. Well, these have definitely answered those two problems. Like I said, Apple's unique answer to this is when you're not using them, and I haven't yet tested, like, to see just how long consecutive time I could use them for without them running dead. I've never gotten that far. I've only had them since Friday, and today's Tuesday. Didn't use them a whole lot over the weekend. Anyway, in the short times that I use them, the short bursts, the battery lasts fine. I think I used them on Saturday, I want to say, for probably good good 2 hours, if not 3. I don't know that it even got to 50%. But when you're not using them, you put them in their case. And with these, you put them in the case, it charges them up, in your pocket. Because you charge the case, like let's say you charge them overnight. You put your AirPods, we call them earpods, but they're actually technically called AirPods. Put your AirPods in their case, and you plug the case in to charge them. So it charges them and the case. Well, whenever you take it and have it in your pocket, the case still has a charge on it. So you put your AirPods in the case, put the case in your pocket, and it charges the actual AirPods as you go. So that's definitely one thing. Again, one of these days I'm going to try to test and see just how long they last, consecutively listening to music or something like that. I'm guessing that like talking on them, such as I'm doing right now, or on the phone, uses even more battery, but I'm less concerned about that because I don't use them as much for that as I do other things. The other thing is volume. So the first time I used them, like I couldn't turn the volume all the way up without hurting my ears. So that's definitely an improvement when it comes to the other thing I was concerned about. When I first got them, I thought, granted, as is usual with Apple products, they're within the box. It doesn't give you a whole lot of instructions at all. It's all online, so I can go look it up if I want. But it implied that it only works with Apple products. Come to find out that's not true. I did find that you can what's called manually pair them. What I was looking at was that if I go to another Apple device, I don't have to repair them. So another Apple device is on my same iCloud account. I don't have to pair them again. I can just go select them, is what it was talking about. And I was assuming that implied that, the idea was that it only works with Apple. I was mistaken. So you can manually pair them. So the other thing that's kind of exciting, which I am something down the road, obviously I don't have right now, but we have an Apple TV. It's in I don't think it's the first generation. But it's not the one you can download apps to. So I don't know, it may be the first generation. Anyway, whichever generation it is, the Apple TV I have is not the one where you can download extra apps, and it's not one that, either way. So if you have the 4th generation Apple TV or higher, you can actually pair the AirPods up to your Apple TV, which is kind of nice, especially as I told you guys before, my new work schedule. A lot of times I come home, it's close to 10 o'clock. Jill's going to bed, or already went to bed. I want to spend a couple hours, or an hour or so before I actually go to bed, wind down a little bit before I go to sleep. So I like to be able to watch some TV. Well, TV makes noise. Our bedroom's right next to the living room, all that good stuff. So it's nice to have a way to do that without having to have the volume on. So I'm excited about that. But maybe down the road when or if we ever upgrade our Apple TV. So that's kind of exciting. I'm going to try to pair it to my laptop, technically my wife's laptop. I tried pairing it with my work laptop, because at work, part of my job is, there's a lot of multitasking involved in my job. And so part of my job is, again, to assist other specialists who are on live calls when they need assistance with trying to figure something out that they can't find an answer to. So whenever I get one of those incoming chats, there's a notification. So I rely on those notifications in order to let me know, because again, between chats or even while there's a chat going, if there's if I've given an answer, I'm waiting for them to test it or them to get back with me on an answer I've asked or anything like that, I may go off and do something else. There's lots of other projects that I'm working on while I do such things. So I rely on those notifications, let me know when there's a new chat that comes in or a reply to a chat, that sort of stuff. And a lot of times if I don't have a pair of earbuds, which I've been using at work, which works fine, if I don't have a pair of earbuds, I a lot of times will miss those. They're not very loud notifications. I mean, I could be, but I hate to make it so loud that all my coworkers around me are annoyed by the sound. So I tried to wear a pair of earbuds, and so I was hoping to pair my AirPods to it. Well, the drivers that are on my laptop won't support the Apple earbuds, but supposedly they're, if I update the Bluetooth drivers to my laptop, it would work. But being a work laptop, which I understand, most installations, especially something like that, which is actually a driver, is locked down, doesn't let, it's only my IT person can do that. So I'm not gonna bother with that. I'll just keep using my earbuds at work. But I might use it on my laptop at home. Again, I play Minecraft, as I've told you guys, and I like to hear it. So that would be nice to have those hooked up to that. So my wife, again, while she's watching TV, I can still hear Minecraft and not interrupt what she's doing. I think that's about it as far as my current experience with the AirPods. I will let you know more after this recording and my opinion on the recording ability / options there. So again, if you're listening to this, you already know the quality, whether it's better or worse than the last ones if you listen to my other videos. So I'll let you know more about that next time I record. So this weekend I was really under the weather. I'm assuming it's just allergies. Every time I have some sort of sinus issue, I blame it on allergies, whether it is or not. I don't know enough to know the difference. This time of year is definitely prime for allergies. It's the spring, pollen, all that stuff, you name it. So it's very likely that it is allergies. So I was really rough this weekend. I don't know what it is. I can get through a whole week, be fine, and then the weekend comes and I'm just hit. So I think a lot of it is I don't rest as much during the week, maybe, as I should. I don't know. Maybe I should just go straight to bed when I get home from work. So this weekend, that was rough. I did miss church on Sunday. I will go back and watch that video, but I did miss that. I'm a little bummed about that, but I don't know. Growing up, I always thought it was crazy. People come to church all snotting and coughing and sneezing, and sometimes even worse. And I'm just like, just stay home. If you're sick, stay home. It's not like there's God keeps a church attendance policy, and if you miss church, you get docked an occurrence like you do at work, and I don't know. I don't get it. I understand dedication and I respect that, but at the same time, is it really good to come to church and get everybody else sick, or sit there and cough and hack the whole time and distract everybody else? I don't know. There's a fine line, I guess, there. And I don't know that I have the end-all, be-all answer on that. Speaking of church, though, we're going through a series right now, and one of the questions that was asked recently was, I know this video's been a little bit long, but it's been a while, so one of the questions that was asked was, what do you think God thinks of you? That's an interesting question. I don't know that, I'm sure at some time in my long history of going to church, someone has asked that question. But it hit me new either way. I was like, I don't know that I've ever had that question. Sorry, I'm drinking warm drink to try to keep my throat clear in order to get through this. So I was thinking, it's an interesting question because, and as he said, and I think my answer probably would have been that in the past. He said the answer that majority of people give on that is something to the effect of disappointed or let down or some even angry, that sort of stuff. And anyway, either way, it's always negative things. And the top answer in surveys was disappointment would be that how God feels, or God's opinion, what God thinks of me. Again, like I said, probably some point in the past that's the case. And if some days at some moments I'm like, okay, yeah, I just did that thing, or oh hey, I'm really bad at this or that, so I'm probably disappointing God. But we always look at the story of for those of you who go to church and are familiar with the story of the prodigal son. I mean, even a lot of people who aren't church know the gist of the idea of the story of the prodigal son. The son comes to the father and is like, hey, I want my inheritance now. The inheritance I would get when you're dead, I want it now, and I want to disrespect you, and I want to run off with all this money and live wild. And the dad gives it to him. He goes off, realizes after the money's gone that life, what life's really like, and decides he's going to come back and beg to just be one of his father's servants, because even his father's servants were living better than he was at the time. And we always, I shouldn't say always, but most sermons you always hear about this, it's always about the son, the prodigal son who came back, and the idea of us coming back and coming back to God even when we run from Him, blah, blah, blah. But, there's other characters in the story. There's the father and there's the other brother. And either way, this particular idea was about the father, which has always been a picture of God, a picture of Christ, and what the father thought of the son. So the son came back and was, he basically pleaded, he'd come back, and the first thing he says, fathers, let me come back and be one of your servants, blah, 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 and, that kind of stuff. And the father's basically disregard, like he didn't even say that. Like that statement didn't even happen, and goes right into, thank God that my son's back, and let's, have a feast and celebrate his return and all this stuff. And it, again, that whole parable is supposed to be a picture of us versus Christ. And if that's the case, then that would display what God feels for someone, even someone who has rejected Him for years and disrespected Him, turned their back on Him, completely wasted. Well, I got a phone call in the middle of that, so I'm not sure how this will work, or even where it was cut off. So anyway, what I was saying was, if the Father is a picture of Christ, and we're the Son is a picture of us in our relationship, that even when we have done the worst, disrespected God, wasted the resources He's given us, walked away from Him, turned our back on Him, even in that worst, if God feels to us what this Father did for this Son, then the answer to what does God think of us, or what does God feel about us, is not disappointment. That overall, God's feeling towards us is love. I have a 3-year-old, and occasionally he does things he shouldn't do, and he gets punished, and I'll be honest, I hate punishing him, any sort of punishment. Nevertheless, I have to, but ultimately, through the whole thing, what I feel for my son is love, because first of all, if I didn't love my son, and my feeling for him, what I feel of my son is love, then I wouldn't feel bad about punishing him, and I do. And I want him to grow up to be a good adult, and that's why I do the things I do, and I do everything I do out of love. Same thing with God. And even the Bible talks about if an earthly father can love their son the way that he does, how much more can the Heavenly Father love his children? So I think it's something to think about. Really take some thought about what you feel God thinks of you, and I think if you're honest with yourself and you really take what the Scripture says, it won't be your first reaction most likely. And again, that's, as humans, that's natural to feel that way, because typically as humans, when someone does something to us or lets us down or turns their back on us, our feelings towards them are negative. So it's hard to not associate that with the same thing that God would feel for us. So anyway, I am going to wrap this up and see if I can figure out on my phone how to splice these two videos together and put them on YouTube. I'm not sure how well that will happen, but we'll see. If not, I'll take them home and edit them. Anyway, you guys have a great day. I will see you next time I record one of these. Take care now. Bye.